Yourselves. Our first panelist we have today is Benz.
Yes, hello. My name is Benz Gorge, Pokemon Master, Karaoke Queen, and part-time streamer. I go live from the cornfields of Indiana, and I hope everyone is feeling gorge today.
We have Caricature.
Hi, I'm Caricature. I'm a gender fluid fashion illustrator, drag content creator, and the queen of Dressplay.
We have Chalora.
Hi, I'm I'm a Talora. And I'll be on like four other panels today, so I'll talk about it later.
We have Nora.
I'm Nora. I'm a trans Pokemon streamer on Twitch.
And we also have Portia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Portia Gesa, mozzarella stick enthusiast and the sleepiest member of Team Stream Queens. Hello.
Where did you come up with this?
Honestly, I don't know. It's a medical mystery at this point.
I hate it. So what we're going to do is we're just have a general talk about all things Pokemon of the past, characters that we care about a lot. But basically, I just kind of get an idea from everybody of what your experience for Pokemon was. Like, are you a Gen 1-er? Is this something you've just recently picked up? Like, mostly like kind of the importance of Pokemon in your life. I mean, personally, I started with like Gen 1 Pokemon Red, and then other than dealing with high school and stuff and missing out on Gen 5 and 6, it's been like, I don't want to say a lifetime addiction, because then I feel like somebody's gonna have to call like a specialist or a doctor, but like this has been something like big for me. Like, I remember just having Pokemon Red, starting from the beginning, anime, obsessed, and like Pokemon was really what taught me about friendship, because no one in real life wanted to be my friends. It's fine, we're good now. But like where did everybody kind of start with the Pokemon journeys?
I'd go first, sure.
That's
fine. My first game was Pokemon Yellow. But I really didn't understand anything until Crystal. So I kind of just like I took my Pikachu and I just could not beat Brock. And I was just like, what is wrong? What am I doing wrong? I'm quick attacking this Onix. But I would say like Gen 2 is my favorite gen, but I did technically start with Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would say my favorite gen is probably Gen 3, because that's when I started to really understand. Although my whole team was water types, so that was probably an accident. But I started with Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Red on the Game Boy Color, and my mom told me that they were creations of Satan. So to guilt trip myself with that one for a while. Christian trauma. But I've loved Pokemon forever, so.
I started with Gen 1 Pokemon Blue and Yellow, and then progressed through until Gen 4, and then kind of took a break from Pokemon. Played Gen 6, and then took another break from Pokemon and got back into it with BDSP. So I've been into the game since then again.
Nice.
Yeah.
My first game was Pokemon Blue at around age 6, like when it came out. My cousin, who was a year older than me, first introduced me to the game, and I was just amazed and hooked instantly. Personally, for me, the game box artwork is something that drew me in the most. I think it was the water art style by Ken Sugimori, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Mm-hmm.
And blue is my favorite color, so that's why I chose blue version.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. My like introduction to Pokemon was very, very different, because I originally wasn't allowed to do it because, also Christian trauma. And also I was like 1 when the games came out, like when Gen 1 came out. So obviously way too young to really play them. But when I got to like school age, that was like Gen 2. And a lot of my friends like Pokemon, and I wanted to fit in. So I also wanted to like Pokemon. So I begged my parents to let me watch the anime, but not play the game, just to watch the anime. And if it wasn't evil, then I could at least consume Pokemon content through that. So they were fine with it. The first episode of it that I ever watched was the Eevee Brothers episode from the Gen 1 anime. And so I watched that with my parents. And then I just only watched the anime until I was like 10. Because then my parents said, because in the show and in the world of Pokemon, you're 10 when you can become a trainer. So I couldn't play the games until I was 10 because I would not be old enough to understand it. So my first actual game that I ever played was Pokemon Stadium. So even though I was way older than like that era, my introduction to the game mechanics was Gen 1, and then I skipped into Gen 3 with Fire Red and XD Gale of Darkness, and then I kind of just stuck with it ever since, and then went back and like just played Gen 2 for the first time this last year.
That's the best gen.
That's why I saved it for last.
I didn't. Well, I think it's funny too because if Gen 2 is the last thing you've played, like generation wise, and it's my favorite, and also your favorite was the XD and Coliseum, and I literally just played them for the first time. Just because I didn't have access to like the Pokemon GameCube games because everything I had was like handheld as a kid, and I mean you only got so much money for doing chores or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that was always a difficult thing. I think also Pokemon's changed a lot as time has gone on, and it's definitely gone a very far place from the original. Like you could only play as a boy character. There was no generation. There was no physical special split. So like I guess some things like for the topic of like what's happening now in Pokemon that like we enjoy, we don't like, etc. But basically, yeah, if anything's happening now that we've really noticed or the differences or things that have changed as we've gotten older, I have no problem still living in my like nostalgic life, and I love Pokemon. And honestly, they could sell me a bag with nothing in it. And if they have a Pokemon logo on it, I'll play it. Do you know what I mean? And so what are some things that we've noticed that has changed, but things that they could probably fix, stuff like that?
I feel like they just don't have as much fun anymore. Like I definitely get the vibe from what they're making right now and how they portray like the games that they put out. Like if they put out a spin-off, it has to like go way further than succeeding. It has to go above and beyond for them to be allowed to have another spin-off. And I just think that's like so detrimental to the team that makes the games and like the studio itself. I feel like they treat like it scares me like how they must treat the devs of Pokemon and the artists of Pokemon and things like that. And it makes me really sad because like I feel like Pokemon is going to be successful probably no matter what. And if they just really like let them work and give them time to work and allow that kind of special energy to prosper, kind of like how we've seen in these older games like Pokemon Puzzle League, Pokemon Stadium 2, things like that, that we're never going to see again. I think it would just be better. Because like playing the games right now, it's kind of like you can see the struggle and you can see the like it comes through in the game.
I think there's a big thing of I feel like there's so much great is happening, but also I feel like there's a big magic missing. And I think it's the magic of Pokemon and discovery and wonder. And also I think it's hard as it's also hard when we're Pokemon streamers and you try to just have your own adventure. And I know like for example, like I've seen when Nora does a playthrough where Nora comes into Lurk, Nora is flat out like, do not talk to me about the game. I want to know nothing. Here are my spoiler warnings. So like Nora comes in prepared. Do you know what I mean? And then I'll just sit there and I'll be like, I'm trying to stream and be like, we're having fun and I'm trying to learn things and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, do you know blank is here and this is blank and blah, blah, blah. Do you know the swords do this and blah? And I'm like, could I just, I don't know, have fun? Like,
Yeah.
you know what
You
I mean?
have to do an emo only chat just for a Pokemon.
Oh my
stream.
God, it's terrible. I feel like there's a lot of magic on it. Like they definitely rushed this last game. And then, or they put so much money into like, what's that game where they all fight each other?
Pokken?
Pokken? Yeah.
No, the one where
Oh,
they
Unite.
Like they put
Oh,
all
Unite,
that money
yeah.
into Unite, or they're trying to put so much money into Pogo, and I just feel like I don't know if anyone else feels this. Do you feel like like I said, the magic is going?
Yeah.
I feel like the magic is going into other aspects of
Yeah.
Pokemon media, but it's not in the games as much anymore. I feel like the anime is kind of capturing a lot of that, especially like the Journey series, I think has a lot of like the things and that I really latched onto as a kid about Pokemon are really present there, but not so much in the games anymore. But I also think that's partially because like that was my introduction to it, so I noticed that more. But like I read a thread on Twitter about how like the Pokemon Company handles money and stuff. And apparently the games are like the least funded of all of the things that they put money towards because they make more money off of merchandising, the anime, and like Pogo and stuff like that. So like the main series games that everything spawns out of ends up getting the least time to develop, the least time to, come together, and gets the least money to be put into to put it together, which then leads to, the buggy game that we get.
Yeah.
I mean, that sector probably needs the most money too.
Yeah.
That work is really hard.
I would have really liked to see. I know, like I'm having so much fun with Violet, and like I think like there's so much that they got right with it, and I really wish they'd taken another 6 months. I really wish that they had just taken a little bit more time. Like yeah, I understand Christmas release is the trigger for biggest sales because all the kids want the game. I get it, but just like a little bit more time or anything just to polish those rough edges. It feels so like the magic totally feels diminished because of like just some NPC walking through you while you're having a battle. It's like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
would've
takes you
waited.
out of the game. It definitely
Mhm.
takes you out of the game where it's just like there's a lot of cool things going on, and it feels like some of the magic feels like it's there, and like some of the cool Easter eggs and things in the animations of the Pokemon and stuff. But it's like when you've got the lighting glitches and the things you're talking about, it's just like hard to feel that as closely. Yeah.
I will
I
say,
feel-
oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. You
There's
can
an
go. I
entire-
get to talk a lot. Everybody else go.
I just love, like, I hate it, but I also kind of love it. Like, I know it's not a feature, but like I just think it's hilarious when there's like an outbreak that's inside a mountain.
Yes.
Oh, it's so funny.
Glitching
Yeah.
inside, and there's just like 20 Pokemon inside a mountain.
Like it wasn't an outbreak, it was just a regular spawn, but like the other day I was just walking around and I had a Phanpy that spawned inside of a rock. And the only thing that was an indicator that it was a Phanpy was that the trunk was out, wiggling around. Just
Oh, I
off
saw
the
that. Was
rock.
it kind of like how I saw the Psyduck and his bill was just kind
Yes.
of nubbling? He was
Yeah.
just kind of sticking out there, and I was like, "What are you
But
doing?"
someone just planted that on the wall for
Yeah.
somebody coming by and just left it. But
I
For what were
it's
you gonna
such a fun game, and it's like I think there's a lot of not mild spoiler things. I'm just gonna mention Pokemon names. But we should know who they are, and if not, I apologize. But like, do you know how magical it was? This Pokemon was already released. There was a whole video, so don't worry. But like, do you know how magical it was when I got to like a certain area and I just saw a little candle in the ground, and I was like, "Is that
Yeah.
and then like the little Greavard popped out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it was like I really like that they did that. I like that they're still sticking to the Pokedex entries, and they've introduced a new Pokemon that fights Corviknight, a Pokemon that we already have. So they're introducing and making things, and I just think it's so fantastic. And then sometimes they just do really stupid stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know.
For me, I think for the past few games, Pokemon has had a hard time balancing the people who play the game, like who want a higher difficulty level with the game, and the people who
Mhm.
need to take it easy. So they're still trying to cater to the kids, the other 6-year-olds in the world who are first getting their first game. But then you have the longtime players who want not just to have the magical adventure, but to have some difficulty with it also, similar to have that same difficulty they had when they were first playing the games. I think they did a little bit better in this one. Like I felt a little bit more of a challenge compared to the last two
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
for
get
sure.
lost in this one, which like hasn't
Mhm.
happened in Pokemon in so long.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean,
I just-
like the first time I fought a member of Team Star, I got my ass kicked. Like, I just
Mhm.
wasn't expecting the fight to go the way that it did. There's definitely some more challenge than I was anticipating. I agree.
Do you know who beat me up really bad, and I was not expecting it?
Hmm.
It was Katie, the first gym leader.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
She wrecked me. I was like, "Oh, I know all about bug Pokemon. I know everything she's gonna do. Let's just have a good time." And then she obliterated me, and I was like, "Okay." Like, I don't want to be the one. Like, I beat Miltank. I beat Whitney's Miltank as a child.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't. So I was really happy that there's a lot of aspects in the game that they do add challenges and stuff. Um, I think it's just also like in any situation, I think it's also there's just a big like magnetizing thing of people that just want to play the game and have fun, and then edgelordy like if you're not doing full on hunts, you're not playing Pokemon. I'm like, you need to go outside. Like I just
Yeah.
like I don't like I'm not trying to put anybody down too, but the amount of like if you go on YouTube and you see also who does well as streamers for like Pokemon content, it's just like straight white guys
Mm.
playing Pokemon. You never see like anyone else on YouTube at least or like other sites, and on Twitch it's like hard for us to like push and do this and it's so special. And then it's just like I can't see all these people that are like, I'm gonna do this hardcore Nuzlocke and I just don't have time.
It's shocking to me because the entire franchise is so incredibly
Queer.
gay.
It
We have so many like historical characters, and I mean the Pokemon themselves. This generation is full of LGBT icons, just as the Pokemon. Like not even talking about the people. Yeah.
Huxley.
Espathra,
Come on.
Espathra? Is that how you say
Yeah.
that name? Espathra,
Yeah.
Espathra, you know.
Lady Gaga Ostrich.
Mhm.
They did.
Was
I mean, the
Kraken doing
designs this one are
trailers?
really good. I did also want to talk about. I don't know if you guys want to talk about the. We have some characters that we feel like represent queerness in Pokemon or things about that. We can do that. Or Nora also had a really good idea to talk about your character's gender identity in the game. I don't know if you'll have a preference on which you want to go into first. Do you want to do the gender identity stuff first?
Sure.
Sure, we can.
For it.
Yeah.
With just a little background in Generation 1, you could only play as one character who was male. There was no female option. And there was rumors of when Pokemon Yellow came out, there was like rumors of Pokemon Pink, and there was the possibility of playing a girl with Pokemon Pink, but I might be a little wrong, but the way that they were trying to sell the game to young boys, they felt it was not worth the money to make a game for girls, etc., etc. Pokemon wasn't for girls. And then Generation 2 came around, and then Professor Oak started the game and opened up and asked the age-old question of, are you a boy or are you a girl? And then in Pokemon Crystal, it was the first time that you could play as a female-based character known as Chris. And it's kind of just gone everywhere from there of you're permanently this one character to now you have an option to they ask, what do you look like? And then they still assign stuff, but like, what are some things you've noticed with that? Or how do you think they're handling it, et cetera, et cetera? Because yeah, Pokemon Company is a game that's very much like always been quote unquote family friendly. So they always try to push a this is for anyone thing.
Mm.
And I feel like personally, they're like taking small steps forward to be like, let's just change how things are and maybe no one will notice. Do you know what I mean? Like, unless you told me or anyone, like they stopped asking, are you a boy or a girl? And they just asked, what do you look like? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How do you think they're doing on that aspect?
I guess like when it comes to the latest generation, it kind of felt like a step back in a way, or like two
Yeah.
steps forward, one step back, or like one step forward, two steps back with
Mhm.
some of the like where you get all of the options basically for both genders in the game, and yet they still assign you pronouns
Yeah.
and it's not explicit and stuff. And so that like I really liked the amount of customization that you could do for your character, and like you pick the like femme side or the mask side, you can kind of make either one look more like the other one and stuff. And then all of the clothing, you know, is the same for both and stuff. But
Mhm.
it's like I really would like to see pronouns as a choice rather than as a like, oh, like suddenly at the end, or suddenly when you've chosen your character, you get to the dialogue and it's like, okay, you get she, her, miss, or he, him,
I
master.
think it's Miss and Master is how they
Yeah.
refer to
Yeah.
you. When you easily could have just been like, hello, Pokemon trainer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like which
Exactly. Yeah.
there's no pronoun or gender specified to a trainer. It is a job. So they could have just fully avoided it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
Well, it's just-
implementation feels very much like a middle-aged businessman's comprehension of what being progressive is. Like, like it definitely feels. I think like the implementation reflects possibly the demographics at the Pokemon Company, at Game Freak, of like oh, like we're not going to say boy or girl anymore, but like we're still going to call you what we think you look like,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
You still have 4 options, which are just basically your skin tone and eye tone from the beginning, and then some are more mask or some are more femme, but depending on which side of the 4 you pick, it's A or B. And I was just sad because when I made a video post and I was like, oh, you can wear whatever you want. This is so fantastic. And then it came out and I was like, I just felt like someone spit on me. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I was just talking about how cool you
Well,
were.
and like the thing
should
is
like
too
that.
is like they marketed it off of that, of like
Yeah.
that there was no gender locked things
Yeah.
with how you could customize your character. And when that happened, I was like, we're in a school. I highly doubt that the Game Freak is going to let like boy characters wear dresses. We are not going to have dresses or skirts as an option. Everyone will be in pants the whole time. And that will be like,
Yeah.
oh, everything's gender neutral because you're all in essentially menswear the whole time. And it's like, it's fine. It is what it is. I get it's the school uniform. I like that that's a part of it. I think it's cute. It adds that level of immersion. I do wish that like you could change things about it or like make little tweaks outside of just like what fun hat do you want to wear? Um but yeah, just I was disappointed with that part of it when they're like, there's no gender locks on things, and it was like, but you're not giving us options that would make it feel like it's freeing, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. I mean, also like the skin tones, body types, and like hairstyles in some ways for sure. Somebody in chat's mentioning that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I they
Sorry.
they just have very few customization options. And they've definitely taken a step forward, but I feel like they didn't walk up the ledge that we were falling down in Gen 1 where you couldn't get back after you made it to Cerulean City. Do you know what I mean? We got to go back
Yeah.
to Mount Moon and explore that a little bit more. And do you get what I mean?
Mhm.
I got way too specific with that reference. But like I mean it's we just have to sit there and hope. I
Some-
still want to my big goal for the future is I just want a game where I can play an adult femme like Pokemon champion.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
want to live out
Mhm.
what my fantasy
Yeah.
in the Pokemon universe.
And I
Let
really
me
think
be Cynthia.
Kinda, yeah.
they really could have allowed you to play as different ages, like at least up to high school kind of age in this game without
Yeah.
changing much at all. Like it was
Well,
like
Nana's
the
a student. Like,
yeah.
And there's like
have
and
you
there's
seen
like
Yeah,
her
yeah,
yet?
yeah. Nimona's a student, and it's like,
And
why can't we play as Nimona's age? You know, it just
Yeah.
feels a little bit strange. You don't have to change much of the dialogue. It could just be a class of like, you know, kids or young adults that are the same, you know, the right age.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be like Elder Scrolls where you like make a character that's like terrifying and monstrous. Like,
Yeah,
they don't gotta go crazy detailed. But yeah, I guess like height, weight, etc. would be a little
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I would love because like I'm a giant, so like I would love to like play as a character that even if I have to be 10 years old, is height accurate to how I was at 10 years old.
But
Um,
also in the Pokemon characters in the game are different body shapes
yeah,
and different types.
yeah,
Katie, the bug type leader, is a thick woman.
yeah. Like a
She
lot of the
got curve.
a lot of the assets are already in the game. They just kind of lock them to the characters and stuff, and that are the NPCs and things, which is kind of
Yeah.
unfortunate.
If
Well, and it's
Pokemon can sell me a 3XL t-shirt with Pikachu on it, they could allow me to wear it in the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, think a little bit deeper.
Yeah. As a femme gay boy, I'm glad they had like a little bit more ways to make like my character, I guess, a little bit more femme in the game because I like to like dabble with makeup and stuff in real life. So I was glad I was able to kind of add a little bit of that. But I totally agree with all of you that there still needs to be more added to the game so everybody can make their own character that they feel represents them.
I mean, I feel like they definitely helped the binary a little bit, but in terms of like skin tones, body types, and like the non-binary, definitely like a bit missing the mark.
I mean, Pokemon has taken its sweet ass time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it was
100%.
want to be a
Yeah.
girl, Pokemon Crystal. Want to be what was it? Yeah, any different skin tone wasn't till Gen 6.
yeah, X and Y.
Gen
was the
6
first
is
one.
X and Y. So even in and also Gen 5 is based off America, which is a melting pot.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So you would
I
think
mean-
if they ever were to introduce it, that was the perfect time.
I mean, Gen
Yeah.
5 was the first time we had like black characters
Mhm.
in Pokemon.
Mhm.
And because it was the first time it wasn't Japan, and it was still like, I mean, it's like you had like the dancer trainer class, like they had
Mhm.
locks. You had Lenora, who had, you know, even though it wasn't like textured, you could tell like her hair was supposed to be an afro.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you can do this stuff. You're just choosing not to at this point.
Yep.
I mean, the important thing is we just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We do. I don't know if we have any other ideas on that. We can continue, but I did also want to ask. I know that some of us wanted to discuss queerness or some queer characters that we had thought about. I don't know if anybody specifically wants to go first, but one thing, big thing about Pokemon is obviously it's a very queer game, whether they intended it or not,
Mhm.
and whether it is like written full in writing or it's just something that we fantasize or connect with the character about. Are there any queer characters that you feel like you have a closeness to or you appreciate for being queer in the game? Like I said, like, you know, even in, like I said, when I was a kid and I played Crystal, and it was the first time I could play a video game as a girl, and we don't even want to talk about what that opened up. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But are there any queer characters that you feel like a connection to or something you really liked about them?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go first. The one I chose, who I think isn't mentioned a lot, she's appeared in like a good few number of episodes and some of the movies, is Professor Ivy, who comes from the Orange Islands.
Mm-hmm.
Her hometown, I think, is the Valencia Island. I'm gonna name some like random facts about her, but I think her debut episode was the Pokeball Para, where it was all about getting the GS ball that Professor Oak
Mhm.
sent you off for in the anime. With what I found out about her, Ivy is very dedicated like to her research, breeding Pokemon, studying the regional and climate differences in Pokemon physiology. She's considered to be very attractive, but her looks do not negate her achievements as a Pokemon researcher, which I really like that little bit about her. In the English dub, Professor Ivy is the only professor in the main series at the time who was not named after a tree. So, you know, you have oak and birch and whatnot. But she was named after a plant, so ivy. Grows on oak trees, to note. So I don't know about that. Her, yeah. Sorry, I'm like trying to reference my notes at the same time. Moving on to about her. Reddit posters like to cancel the idea, but one of the former screenwriters for one of the episodes that Professor Ivy was in, Takashi Shudo, like to believe that Brock was devastated by Professor Ivy because she was a lesbian, because Brock tried to put the moves on her, but she, you know, was like, no, I'm good. Thanks, Brock. Yeah, Shudo liked to believe that Professor Ivy's sexuality sent him into his despair, because every time in the anime where like Brock came back after his like getting training from her and stuff, there's like, so what happened with Professor Ivy? And he would like go sulking in a
so
corner,
full
like,
depression.
don't mention that name to me, because I think was one of the lines that he would say. As we all know, Brock's very flirtatious and he knows no bounds with it. But he is quick to leave a lady alone after she shows disinterest. So not super gross about it, but still really forward with how he tries to present himself. Yeah, so if Professor Ivy was a lesbian, then the man never had a chance. So that would probably devastate him even more. So that's why he was so probably like down about it whenever he would hear her name. Yeah, crush him. And then Shudo likes to think Brock left as soon as he finished his studies, under heroin. Ivy allowed Brock to study under her while Ash and Misty begin their Orange Island adventures. It's never explained what really that Ivy taught Brock, though, or what happened before
Definitely not breeding.
he left. Oh, yeah, if we're not breeding, so what are we learning?
Taught him how to handle a cloister properly, you know.
Stop!
These vampires.
Right. So yeah, I take the word over the former screenwriter than the Reddit posters who try to cancel the idea. So I really like that the screenwriter threw that out there. So that's my queer character. But a shout out to my friend Andrew made me think of Sabrina, the psychic gym leader from Gen 1, with her having psychic powers and something she was born with and being shut away can be an analogy for queerness. So I just want to put that little bit out into there.
Thank you, Benz.
Yeah.
Kara, did you want to go?
Yeah. So being the anime stan that I was as a child, when I really like got into Pokemon hardcore, watching it regularly, I used to wake up at 7 a.m. on Saturdays because that's when it aired. So I would set my alarm early, like I was going to school, and I would get up to watch the anime, and it was for the Ruby and Sapphire anime and the contest arc and all that stuff with May. And I used to say for years, and I still probably would do this, that if Pokemon were real, I would, screw being a gym challenger or whatever and doing that.
Mhm.
I would want to do contests.
Oh God.
Let me make my Pokemon all cutesy and elegant and dress up in fancy costumes and just put on a show. Like, it's very drag. And so I was very
yeah.
attracted to it as a child. And I think the thing that I really latched onto as a kid with that was all of the different characters as well that were like May's rivals. In particular, Harley, because Harley was one of the first times as a kid who grew up real traditional Baptist that I got to see like a male character who was just egregiously homosexual, like outside of James. But just him calling May a little gingerbread cookie, and he had like this little walk that he always did that was very feminine and very like he was just so exaggerated, and I loved it so much as a kid. And then I found out later that his original voice actor was Andrew Rannells, who was in Book of Mormon, like originated one of the roles in Book of Mormon. And like he used to be a voice actor for like 4Kids dubs a lot before he like went on to Broadway. And then he also, in the 2000s, there was a touring Pokemon stage show, and he was in that as James. So like seeing this gay man playing James on stage and then getting to voice this other like gay character or very queer character, at least in the anime, and then going on to like do other things, I always thought was just an interesting little thing. But Harley was always like my favorite of May's rivals. Even though he was always like the mean one and like the most antagonistic, because media likes to make queer characters the villains all the time. But
I can't remember the character off the top of my head, but the way you described him, I fully see the entire picture back in it. And now I recall, because I didn't watch the third season too much. Not third season, but like I didn't watch the
Yeah.
Hoenn. I didn't watch Hoenn too much, but I always forget about them as a character. But they remind me a lot of the magician from the Indigo League.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Chalora, did you have
Captain
somebody?
outfit, right?
Huh?
Yes. Yeah, he's the capturing guy.
Yeah.
The character I thought of was the beauty trainer Nova from, I think, Black and White.
Mm-hmm.
She has a distinct line where she says, like all trainers, they have like a line or whatever. She says, "Yes, a mere half year ago, I was a black belt. Quite the transformation, wouldn't you say?" And like black belt is capitalized because it's a trainer type, and black belts are typically or exclusively male in this series. And so a lot of people online, well, I've never actually seen anyone oppose this. It seems pretty unanimous that everyone is saying that she's a trans character, and most people say it's canon. And so like I think along with that, like we find characters or things in Pokemon games and we have to like kind of enforce our queerness on those things. And I think there are definitely like some queer people in the background making sure that little tidbits reach the finished product in the best way that they can achieve that goal, if that makes sense. And it's not like a whole like gay agenda thing. It's not like something nasty or malicious. It's just like we want to see ourselves represented. And if we have like obviously like beauty trainer Nova can't explicitly say, "Oh, I started transitioning," like that would be like a really strange, out of place line to hear.
Especially just meeting somebody.
Yeah.
You're like, "Hi, I want to battle?" She's like, "I just took my shots." Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Then you beat her, and she's like, "The moans made me lose,"
But,
She's
a
like,
lot
"These
of-
hands are rated E for estrogen."
But the only other people I really thought of was like Jesse and James, which I feel like is pretty obvious. Um, and like Kara said, like a lot of queerness starts with villains, or they like make the queerness kind of evil off the start. And I think, as much as that's not such a great thing, and like I think most of us think that Jesse and James are probably cishet, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're kind of queer. I mean, I think they're queer, but like, whatever. But I don't know. I think the whole like gender bending costumes and things like that, like it's a really great start that like we often see in media where like characters or a franchise will have that kind of thing, and it will only grow in a better way from there. And I mean, like
Mhm.
obviously we can see characters like Iono in Scarlet and Violet who have clear trans colors. Even though, they might not necessarily say that they're trans, we can just sort of like point fingers and be like, those are trans colors, so she's trans for us. Thanks. And we just snatch her. For me, it was like the water gym leader. He has this little gay assistant guy who's helping him and being like, don't touch my daddy. You know, you're going to fight me first, girl. But that's what I thought of.
I think
I
that's a
think
great point too.
I think
Like,
like one of the things that I've been thinking about is like if since like majority opinion kind of has to change and all of the like societal things for Game Freak, Nintendo, etc. to like jump on board with queerness and these things. I think what would be an easy thing to do would be to like let people bring the queerness, especially with the role that social media plays, and like allowing more customization for your character and things, so that like people can really show who they are in that way. And then like they're posting pictures and things if they're their characters, and so you get more queer representation that way, just like naturally, if we had more ways to express ourselves.
I think it's a great point too. And I think sometimes it's like it sucks, but I also think I try to look at things from a nice point of view. I think it's great that we get to like the Pokemon universe is so expansive and majestic that like although they're not like here is something that's going to be very important to you when you get older, it's something that I got to find and it got to affect me. And like as the characters are talking about, like it's nice to see these characters and it's just good to hear how they affect us. And like I'm still 100% on the Opal as a trans woman. Like
Mhm.
you cannot tell me otherwise. You know what I mean? And I just think it's wonderful that like that might affect somebody in so many different aspects. Like it has an effect on me just as much as it would have effect on, other people. And it's just nice to have those. And I don't know if they realize it or they're just doing it and just winking. But it's nice to hear. Portia, we have you have one too, and then Nora, I don't believe you said yours either.
Yeah.
Portia, do you want to go next? We'll save Nora for last.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Like I think like the very first time I like looked at a character in the Pokemon franchise and went, ah, was Wallace.
Oh God.
Ruby Sapphire. Like the original outfit is very modest. It covers everything, but still the color palette is very Blanche Devereaux from the Golden
Oh
Girls
yeah.
is kind of what that gives me, like the full draping sort of effect. And then the Alpha Ruby and Omega Sapphire redesign. Oh my God, with the cutouts,
Yeah.
actual gasp when I came up to that to that gym. So amazing. So yeah, I think that like that just character, really had a big influence on me. And I did a bunch of research for this, but that apparently I didn't realize that a lot of people think that he and Steven Stone are an item.
Oh yeah.
That was news to me this week, but
That
it's
has
really
gotten
cool.
me through cold nights. Like I'm here for the Wallace and Steven. I think it is the like plus like he's like, oh, then you can take over as champion. I just picture this whole like romantic arc. You know what I mean?
It's very Yuri on Ice, like one
Oh,
is the
yes.
mentor sort of moment.
But they're in the perfect like relationship where they converse about every little thing. Like they never get mad at each other because they have specific nights just to talk about their feelings. Like, oh,
Absolutely. There's even a storyline in Pokemon Masters
oh
where
yeah.
they're like they talk at length about how important their friendship is for each other. And then the rival from Pokemon Sun and Moon goes, wait, are they? No, can't
Yeah.
be. Like, end quote. Uh,
Also, come on. One specializes in having hard steel, the other one's always wet. Don't do this to me.
Exactly.
you know?
Ah,
And like also even Steven's Alpha Oras redesign. Did I say the names opposite earlier? It doesn't matter.
Yes.
You're fine. We know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
But even Steven's Oras redesign is fabulous as all hell. That like really long ascot and
Oh
the
yeah.
coat's unbuttoned. Wallace has gotten him to just let loose a little bit.
I think that Alpha Sapphire or Alpha Ruby, Omega Sapphire redesigns on a lot of the characters definitely were like peak design. Because like, I mean, we're not going to get into it too much, but like Team Aqua, like we've seen some of
Archie.
them like at a queer bar.
Ooh,
You know what I
Archie.
mean?
there's my thing.
Like one of them is a go-go dancer, and you know it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Nora, did you have a character you want to talk about?
I'm just gonna go with like Jesse and James classic, you know, from
Yeah.
from the anime, because I stopped watching the anime probably in I don't know, Gen 2 kind of era,
Mhm.
but like them being very much like out there and like can't help themselves like in their own world in terms of like queerness as like a first thing seemed to
Mhm.
have like a bit of an impact on me. So yeah, that's definitely like, you know, classic one.
I think my big thing was just kind of like I mean, I've talked about it a lot, but like Gen 2 Johto was just such a big turning point for me, like not only with getting to play as my first female character as Chris, especially when I played other games and you didn't have other options. You couldn't there were no games you played as a girl, or it was like you played Metroid and it was like, "Oh, tee she's assigned female at birth, but we don't tell you unless you're really good at the game." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like girls can have guns too. I don't have time for that. Um but I think one thing I really liked, and even like reading like the manga and everything, is there's a character Bugsy, and Bugsy is just very femme presenting, but is a male character who identifies as male, and everyone in the anime, the manga, the game, whatever, there's so many references of everyone thinking that Bugsy is female, and I just was like, it was just so fun to one think like, oh, what if it's like how Misty was so scared of bugs, now there's a female bug leader, that's so cool. And then you meet Bugsy and Bugsy's like, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. But like they're just very like feminine presenting, and like I just liked that they opened did they do the best at like discussing it? No. But like they opened up a conversation, and they open up this idea of a character of them being, I don't know if Bugsy is necessarily queer, but I do know that they're a femme presenting, mask identifying individual. And especially as like, I mean, I don't know, some of us have definitely like, you know, been on the phone and someone's been like, be like, oh, is your mother, or they think you're your mother on the phone or something, or like if you have like being a queer kid and somebody mistakes you for, or like assumes or belittle, you know what I mean? So it was something to get to see in the games of like, oh, okay, well, Bugsy goes through this too.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
100%.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, like I said, I mean, Johto was just fantastic. Also, I'm still sticking to it. I don't know if anyone knows this. Lugia is the only female legendary, and nobody can tell me otherwise.
We don't talk about the male voice acting in that movie.
That drove
100%.
me
I mean,
nuts.
the creator like regretted allowing that to happen for the rest of his life, kind of thing.
Yeah,
if
and
you-
it was so. If
crazy.
anyone's ever, fun thing to look up after the panel, if you all are interested, look up Lugia's origin story. It's fantastic and depressing.
Maybe she just has a really mask voice.
No, the movie and the Pokemon company flat out were like, we want Lugia to be a male presenting legendary when they're supposed to be gender neutral or gender, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So whole thing. We do have a couple questions, and I figure we got about 10 minutes to do the Q&A, if that's okay with you. Unless anybody has any other closing thoughts before I go on to the Q&A. I think we're good.
Yep.
Okay. So some of these might go over each other, but basically, for everybody, if you're a gym leader, what is your type, and then who are your like top 3 or your ace in general? So you're now a gym leader in our own like Stream Queenian region.
We done this before.
If you had to have an ace, and what would your type be?
I wonder.
I would be fire, and it would be Charizard.
Not a bug.
It's a bug type. It's a bug Terra type
Yeah, Bug
Charizard.
Terra.
There we go.
I mean, I would be a bug type gym leader, Elite Four member, and obviously my ace is going to be Scolipede.
Mhm.
Mm.
I would not be in your game because I would also be a bug type leader, and
We could be like the twins.
my ace would be Vespiquen. Oh, we could do like a double battle Elite Four.
Yeah, because also Vespiquen is very much like special defense and defense tanky, and Scolipede is much more of like a fast physical attacker.
We should get on this.
I think we could do this.
I'll call Nintendo right now.
I'm every stereotype. I'm 100% a fairy type trainer.
Of course.
I can't help it. And I would probably have Florges, and then Galarian Rapidash, and then a Mega Gardevoir as my ace, because that ball gown just gives.
The shiny one.
Yes.
Yes.
Ben, we already
Anybody
know yours.
Yeah, well, there's kind of two. So my mascot, my mascot for the stream is obviously Dragonair, the original Gorge Pokemon, as I like to refer to them. So yeah, I think I would do like a whole like Dragonair like team. It'd be nuts for a gym with like different setups, move setups, whether it's special, maybe physical, or even different types of moves that they can do. But I'm also, my favorite Pokemon type is water, and Starmie is always one of my favorites in there, so that would be my ace for that.
I think I would struggle to pick a type. I would go, my ace would be, I think, Hisuian Sneasel right now. And my favorite Pokemon change all the time, but definitely a shiny team for sure. And I would struggle to pick a typing.
Yeah, same. Like I like when we did the Stream Queens Pokemon thing, I didn't pick a type. I did a color palette.
Yeah.
Like, that was my whole thing. So it's like, my thing is, when I put teams together, like even when I would think like a gym leader or whatever, it's so hard for me to settle on what I would want to do. Like, I recently drew myself as a fire type gym leader with an all shiny team, and as I was doing it, I quickly realized I don't like fire types that much. So it was very difficult to pick more than like 3. But I mean, I would probably, I guess I have a team for that. That would be Chandelure as my ace with Ninetales, Heat Rotom, Pyroar, Salazzle, and whatever and Bile Style or Choreo.
Oh, okay, I see you.
But I mean, if I had to pick a specific type that would be my go-to, I would probably also do Fairy.
Yeah.
It's quite versatile.
I feel like it's a queer thing. You have to pick fairies or bugs.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna throw the ball limp-wristedly, you better be able to expect what's gonna come out of it.
Look at Ortega.
We
Exactly.
have we have a
I
few
was
more
like me as a
questions.
child.
We have a
Never
few more
animated
questions to get
Ortega,
through.
did it lovingly.
What is everybody's least favorite generation and or your least favorite starter? I hate Sun and Moon.
Well, this has been fun. No. I feel like Unova is not my favorite.
Gen 5?
Yeah, because just
Yeah.
everything took so long to evolve.
Yeah.
Everything
I
evolved
understand.
so high. I was just staring at all my Pokemon, just waiting for it to happen. That's what would be my answer.
I wanna
Anyone
say
else
I
least
hated-
favorite gens or your least favorite and or your least favorite starters?
I hated Gen 4, the original, just because, like, I love the Pokemon,
Yeah.
but I hated the gen because the experience gain was terrible.
Oh, I love the Pokemon in Alola. I hated playing the games.
So, like, the game itself was very hard, and then like Cynthia was super challenging, especially with the experience like hindered.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just very difficult for like no reason when it could have been really enjoyable. And then like the whole like honey tree thing was a pain in the butt, especially for us fucking bug trainers.
And you had to physically wait a day. You could not do anything with.
Well, I mean, you could put honey on a tree, and if you knew it was a comb bee, you could reset the game over and over.
Yeah, that's one thing.
But if you wanted like a Heracross, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My least favorite gen was the last one, Gen 8, just because I think I connected least to the characters in the story compared to all the other games.
Yeah.
That's
I definitely skipped a couple of gens, but I think when it started to be more of like tutorial, like trying to carry you through, where it's like I just want to play the game. You know, I know that
Mhm.
these are not like made for our age group necessarily, but I feel like the
Sun
games
and
kind of
Moon?
went backwards. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, I
Yeah.
haven't played Sun and Moon, but like
Oh,
as
you know
soon
what? That is
in
literally Pokemon
XY,
tutorial.
in
Yeah.
XY, it's definitely like Rotom Phone starts to take over, and I've heard in Sun Moon it's even worse. So I really loved in Gen 9 just being able to like there's a bunch of tutorial and it's still like some time, and then you can just do whatever the heck you want and
I
get
love the
lost.
classes, or you can just go F off.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
And like I think going with the classes, like the classes are such a fun way. Like I did all of them. I didn't need to, but I sure did because like thinking about it like as an immersive thing, like as a way to like teach kids that are playing the games for the first time the like mechanics of Pokemon, but doing it in that setting is so smart.
And it's
Like
not also like this is a Pokeball. They're like, okay, if a Pokemon has a stab move, stab stands for same attack, same
yeah,
type attack
and
bonus,
the
blah blah
math,
blah, etc. There's
like there
I
was
got
stuff I
stumped.
learned during it. I was like, I
Yeah.
didn't realize like the specifics of this as much. So I was like, oh.
I didn't realize that they had nerfed critical hits a couple
Yeah.
generations ago to 1.5 instead of 2. So I learned something.
But yeah, I think to answer the question, I also say that my least favorite gen is probably also Gen 4, in terms of
Okay.
playing it, because the pacing of Diamond and Pearl and Platinum is so specifically lengthy, and it's paced and broken up in a really strange way. A lot of really long routes in order to get to
Mhm.
places, which again, I love the Pokemon there, but I've also played through Platinum a lot of times, and I could probably go about 3-4 years before I ever look at Sinnoh again.
Also, there's only
But-
like 2 fire Pokemon.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ponyta and Chimchar.
yeah.
So if you didn't pick it as a starter, you have to like, and like, isn't Ponyta like hard to get? Like, you have to like pretty much be end game before you can get a Ponyta.
No, you can get
you-
it pretty early.
You get it up somewhere like half-ish.
You can get it.
It's just also it's not a good
outside of-
Pokemon.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can get it
sure.
outside of the first gen town.
Just terrible.
But it's also it's a Firestone. No, it's not a Firestone evolution. That's
It's level
Vulpix.
40.
Level 40
Mhm.
though. Its evolution is so late.
And the experience gain.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that everybody's least favorite starter is Charmander. All right, so
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
we all
Yes.
agree.
I agree to agree.
Final question is there something that you haven't seen in Pokemon, like character-wise, like a type of like an ethereal character, an animal, or an object that you would like to have a Pokemon of? Like I was very excited, for example, when like Lechonk got announced, just because I'm a huge fan of pigs. I think they're one of the cutest animals in the world. So I was really excited when that happened. I don't know if I necessarily have anything I would want unless it was like a joke. I don't know if there's really a Pokemon I could like think of or something they haven't done. Because also like anyone who wanted a flamingo Pokemon, look what we got.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
like I was one of those people who also desperately wanted a flamingo for years
Yeah.
and years and years. And then like, I mean, I actually do really like Flamingo a lot. It's quite fun to use, but I do wish, and it's because I got my hopes up on fan art and Fakemon. There's an artist, I can never remember his name, and I always feel bad because I bring this Pokemon up all the time. But he did like a concept region based on Egypt, and he had a regional version of Spritzy that was a fairy fire type and it
Yeah.
evolved into a flamingo. and
Wow.
it's so fierce, and I want that to be real.
That's so cool.
And the fact that it's not makes me sad. But
Def-
I will say Gen 9 checked a lot of boxes of like things that I wanted Pokemon of. Like I wanted an I wanted a dolphin, I wanted a flamingo, and I got all three of them in one go. So I'm very happy about that.
Definitely, when it comes to Flamigo, it's looking at Espartha and then Flamigo, you're just like, what happened? Why?
Yes. Like,
But yeah, for me, I think Finizen was pretty satisfying to see the dolphin.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't really have anything specific. I guess like in terms of whale Pokemon, it would be nice to see something that's like more closer to what we got with the dolphin relative to, like Whalmer, Whalelord, if we got another whale at some point.
Do we have a narwhal yet?
Don't
I
know.
don't
That could be the
think
next one.
so.
No,
think
The new
so.
that's the
Ice
one
Whale
thing that is
kinda.
real that I'm convinced is fantasy.
I mean, a secretary bird would be fun. They just
Mm.
kick everything. And they have long lashes.
And we've seen those in real life.
Yeah.
I would say like probably some kind of bug or spider or something, but they
There's a lot of
usually
moths I want. A lot
Yeah.
of moths.
like I would love to see a Lunamoth that isn't like Dustox was good, but it doesn't have that like shape that I'm looking for. Like
Yeah.
the like bottom wing, like eye thing, and like Masquerain is really cool, but still not what I'm looking for. Like, and there's just isn't a spider that I'm happy with
No.
yet. I love Galvantula, I love Ariados, but like Ariados is too weak for me to want to use. It's not strong enough in my opinion.
I
And
think it's
then
also texture and color palette.
yeah. And then like and it's too small. Like, and it's not the right kind of aesthetic I'm going for. And then
Yeah.
Galvantula is very cool, but it relies on speed and nothing else. So
Yeah.
it just sort of like doesn't really work for me. And I really don't care about for this particular Pokemon, the diving bell spider one with the big bubble
Oh.
head. I absolutely abhor it.
I
I hate
recommend
love
it
it
just
so much.
for
It's so
something
silly.
for something as cool as a diving bell spider, like the idea that a spider could live underwater, it's very unique and very interesting to like actually learn how it works in real life. It's very disappointing.
Yeah.
So for me, like I need, and like the spiders in this gen were cool, but I hated it at first because I was like, oh, it's like a little ball of yarn, and then it turns into this thing, like this like
Yeah, don't talk to me about that because literally, like, if a spider Pokemon comes out, it sews. I literally work as a seamstress. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is about to be my new Bulbasaur.
and then it's like a ninja.
Mm.
And like
Oh,
I
it's
know
terrible.
I know the origin and I get it and I see the reference, but it just wasn't what I wanted.
I know. I'm very sad to say that we literally have 2 minutes. So in a everybody has 15 to 30 seconds. Could you please, before we go, let us know your Twitch link and what we can expect to see from you? Maybe Benz wants to go first.
Sure. Yeah. My Twitch link. So just what you see on screen, Ben's Gorge, if you put it after that /. What I've done on my stream is I played a few things. I did like a little series, like I called my Saturday mini series, where I play games where they take like 2 to 5 hours to get through. I've done a whole like DBD segment. I've gone through the first 3 Kingdom Heart games, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so kind of a variety of things. It's just what I'm feeling, and I'm very part-time streamer here on Twitch, so it's the days where I'm like, I feel like I have the creativity and have the inspiration to play a game on stream. I did do a year of playing consistently with the schedule, but I realized that just wasn't for me. So that's why I went to like more part-time, and I just hop on, and you all can come hang out, and that's just kind of the gist of what you'll see when you come see me.
Thank you, Benz. Kara, what are you going to be doing next on stream?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on a set of 28 themed holiday hunts, perfect in time for the upcoming season. I found 6 of my 28 targets in 3 days, along with 7 other Pokemon. And at the end of the month, I'm going to do an art stream, and we're going to draw all of them at like a holiday party. It's going to be very cutesy. But we're going to probably do similar like big group hunts with a theme for a while. A lot of Pokemon content, a lot of shiny hunting. I'm also going to be starting to do some Pokemon fashion illustration design streams and doing some more, bringing back my regional variant design streams I used to do when I first started out, because I really miss doing those.
Thank you, Kara. Chalora, what can we see you doing next?
You can watch me play masterful Pokemon Puzzle League streams once in a while when I feel really, really bored and I don't know what to play. I'm really good, and I would love to try a championship, but it's never coming back, and the digital console is terrible. And you'll see me all day today, so I'll see you later.
Thank you, Chalora. Nora.
My Twitch link is twitch.tv/Nora in the future here. And I'm going to be hunting in Gen 9 for a while. I do full odds shiny hunting, and then also I've got a Heart Gold Soul Silver badge quest going on and a couple of other things. I do some hardware streams as well when it comes to like Game Boy Advance reshells, capture card, like teaching people how to do capture card installs. And we just had a Trans Awareness Week event fundraiser a couple weeks ago that we're going to end up doing next year again with a bunch of streamers, and thinking about trying to do something for Pride Month as well. So.
Thank you, Nora. And Portia.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually don't play Pokemon that much anymore on stream. I drop
Ooh.
whatever I'm doing and I play Pokemon when a new game comes out. So I'll be beating the Elite Four and going into Endgame this weekend in the evening. But normally I play mostly Final Fantasy 14 and Fortnite on my stream. So that's the most of the content, and then we dip into Pokemon occasionally.
Thank you,
and
Portia.
I am in the very next panel as well. So I'll see you in a few minutes.
Oh, she's ready. And of course, my name is Mia Easylay. I'm a Pokemon streamer, and tomorrow I'll be shiny hunting for the Ghost Doggy Greavard. I will be in full makeup. Hopefully, after this lovely cold medication nap that I'm about to take is gonna kick in. Definitely got my little cold going on today, but I want to say thank you to everybody, Benz, Nora, Kara, Chalora, and Portia for joining for this is our second Pokemon panel. And I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and to everyone who has been a part of Stream Queens. And good luck on your Pokemon adventures. And thank you for watching.